Hi everyone, my name is Peyton from Rackets Runners, and we're going to be doing a lot more shoe reviews this year, so stay tuned for those. I was lucky enough to get put in charge of the Glycerin 22 review, which I am very excited about because I have put many kilometers in the Glycerin 20s, the 21s. I've gotten to try out the Glycerin Maxes, and now I've gotten to put some miles in the Glycerin 22s. So let's get into it. Before we dive in, don't forget that you can find these on our website, and please don't forget to like and subscribe because we will be doing a lot more shoe content in the upcoming year. So the biggest update in the shoe compared to the Glycerin 21 is that they shifted from the DNA Loft foam to the DNA Tuned foam. This is the same cushioning system that's used in the new Glycerin Max. So essentially what this means is that there are larger cushioning cells in the back of the shoe, and then there's smaller, denser cells in the front of the shoe. What this means is that you have a softer landing in the back of the shoe, and then as you roll forward, you have a more responsive toe off in the front of the shoe. As for the next update, they did add this nice little finger loop at the back of the shoe, which makes it a bit easier to get on and off. Another update is that they changed the lace shape compared to the Glycerin 21s. It's a little bit of a flatter shape, and it's also really nice because it doesn't come untied, so I haven't had to double knot these. The last update is that they did change the double jackered upper, which did impact the fit, which we'll get into now. The shoe does fit differently than the Glycerin 21. The thing I noticed most is that the toe box felt a bit shallower. It didn't necessarily feel like it was too shallow. It just felt more like there was less dead space in the front of the shoe. Additionally, it didn't feel quite as roomy here. It's not narrow by any means, but the Glycerin 21 definitely was a bit more generous, which could have something to do with how much more voluminous it felt. If this makes any of you worry about the fit of the shoe, I am a very standard 7.5 B width, and this fit perfectly. I didn't feel like I needed to break it in at all. It was a very comfortable fit. It just felt like there was less dead space in the front of the shoe. I absolutely love this shoe. I first became a fan of the Glycerin 20 because of how responsive it was while still giving me that nice premiumly cushioned feel. When the Glycerin 21 came out, I also really liked that shoe, and I've put quite a few kilometers in it, and I liked it because it was a little bit softer than the Glycerin 20 and it had a bit more cushioning, but was still very responsive. The Glycerin 22 is a soft shoe. It's definitely softer than the 21, which is keeping up with the trend of the Glycerin gradually getting softer. This shoe actually, I feel, really blurs the line between the Glycerin 21 and the Glycerin Max. The Glycerin Max is a nice, soft, long endurance run shoe. So for people who want to get into that territory, but they don't necessarily want that big of a shoe, this shoe is great because it's a bit more minimal, and it is better for those everyday runs as well as the long endurance runs. Considering how soft the shoe was, I was very impressed with how responsive and energetic the toe-offs were, and that probably has to do with the denser foam cushioning that they put in the front of the shoe to counteract the soft cushioning in the back of the shoe, which still gives this a nice soft landing but still keeps up with that classic Glycerin responsiveness. For those of you who are looking for a super plush, comfortable, soft shoe, this shoe is a great option for you. I absolutely loved this shoe on all of the runs I went on, including my fast runs, my recovery runs, my long runs. They felt amazing. Where I didn't care for the shoe as much was when I used it as an everyday shoe. That's just me personally. My arches need a little more support if I'm going to be wearing them throughout the day. So for those of you who need a little more support, you might want to try out the Glycerin 22 GTSs, which has a little bit more support around the outside of the shoe. Or you might want to keep your Glycerin 22 as an exercise specific shoe because, again, I loved running in these. When I say everyday shoe, I mean that I was wearing them for 8 hours a day in the store, on my feet all day. And then I was also going out to run on top of that, so take that with a grain of salt. For those of you who are a big fan of softer shoes, especially if you liked the New Balance 1080 version 13, this would be a great shoe to add to your rotation, especially since the new 1080 is a bit on the firmer side now. If I want to compare it to the Asics Gel Nimbus, which I have experienced with the Gel Nimbus 26, I found that this shoe has a very similar feeling collar right here, so if you liked the feel of that in the Nimbus, this is a great option for you. Some differences that I found between the Gel Nimbus 26 and this shoe is that I found that the Gel Nimbus has a little bit more of a rocker in the front of the shoe, whereas this one has a little bit more of a energetic toe off due to the denser cushioning in the front. And this one, while still being very well cushioned, I also felt like I had a little bit more ground feel, while the Asics Gel Nimbus 26 felt like I was a little bit higher up off the ground. I do want to touch on durability really quick. I've only run 40 kilometers in it so far, but it is a softer shoe, and I have found in my experience that softer shoes do tend to pack down a bit quicker than the firmer shoes. I have over 500 kilometers in the Glycerin 21s, and they have held up great. The lifespan of the shoe feels good. I do think I'll be able to get that 700 plus kilometer feel out of them. It's not that I think this shoe won't last, but softer shoes do tend to pack down a little bit quicker, although they did make the tread of the shoe a bit more durable, so it will last longer in that regard. That's going to be the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe so you can stay tuned. We're going to be coming out with a lot more content. Keep an eye out for the new Novablast 5 review and the new Asics Gel Nimbus 27. If you do want to come try these on, please come visit us in store and chat with one of our expert shoe fitters, or you can check us out online at racketsandrunners.ca.